We're going to have a little fun using AI image generation technology and see what kind of movie posters AI can come up with. The only information I fed the software was generate an alternative poster for the movie. There I inserted the movie title and that was it. I then let the tech create whatever it wanted. Many, and I mean many of the images it generated were unusable for numerous reasons, so I took only the images that were at least usable, if not actually good. So let's see what the current state of AI image generation came up with. Here's 25 or so alternative movie posters generated by AI. Let's begin with Now Playing Star Wars. I'll also be assigning each poster with a letter grade of A, B, C, D, or F. Discuss in the comments if you agree with the grades the posters get. As you can see, the image is instantly recognizable as Star Wars, but the AI did a few weird things. First of all, who are these people in the poster? None of them are recognizable as Luke, Leia, or Han Solo. Vader looks good, although I think his helmet is a little short, but where the AI really failed was with that stormtrooper to your left. For some reason, he's holding a dog and there's a ground sloth next to him. Was that supposed to be Chewie? I don't know why it's there or why he has a dog. Anyway, it's partially successful, so it gets. Now Playing Jaws. This one was a total failure. The best I could get was this kind of weird-looking drawing of a shark. All of the other images were just rip-offs of the actual movie poster, with the big fish swimming up from the depths ready to eat whatever was on the surface, a person, a boat, a whatever. It was all just a rip-off of the poster we all know. Surely, this is going to be the worst one of them all. Right? Now Playing The Exorcist. The AI generated a lot of moody images of the old priest seen in shadow, but the best one was this image that evokes an actual scene from the movie. Reagan is sprawled out in bed with Father Merrin tending to her eternal soul. There's no sign of Father Karras in any of the posters generated, so this image as is gets. This one has a runner-up. The runner-up was this image. It's pretty vague, but it's kind of reminiscent of the actual poster with the exorcist in silhouette, and is a nice composition, although it does sort of look like he's carrying his luggage with him as he walks into a graveyard. Now Playing The Shining. This one surprised me by what a bad job it did. You'd think a concept like a maniac running amok with an axe would generate something pretty good, but I couldn't get a decent poster from this one either. Try as I might, the best I could get are these two images, neither of which is fully formed as a poster, but since Jaws set the standard for an F, this one gets. Now Playing Raiders of the Lost Ark. The images generated for this one were pretty good. If not for the unrecognizable co-stars, this might have a shot at being the actual poster for the movie. All of the images generated evoked the look and feel of the Drew Struzan painted anniversary editions. This one has a runner-up. I like the colors in the runner-up, although Harrison Ford looks a little younger than he should. He looks like a man in his 20s rather than a man in his 40s. Now Playing E.T. the Extraterrestrial. On a lot of these posters, all the AI did was generate a picture of the featured character, which I don't consider to be making that much of an effort. It's kinda the easy way out. This was the only recognizable image of the titular alien that I could get, so, by default, it was the winner, but it only gets. Now Playing Poltergeist. Well, there's a little girl and a menacing but kinda goofy looking spirit presence, but it's reminiscent of nothing in the movie. None of the other images were even close, so I went with this one. If the entity were more recognizable as one seen in the movie, it would score higher, but it isn't so. Now Playing The Wizard of Oz. This was another one that generated some pretty images, but all of them were unusable for one reason or the other, reused characters, misspelled text, etc. The only way I could get anything was to combine two images into one, which I did here clumsily, and I'm still missing Toto. Now Playing Rocky. I kinda knew this would happen. All I could get here were pictures of a jacked Sylvester Stallone, which is fine, but the problem is, Stallone wasn't jacked in either Rocky 1 or 2. The sculpted physique didn't appear until Rocky 3, so I just took one of them, placed it here, and called it a day. Now playing. Pretty Woman. The images generated for this one included no one recognizable as either Julia Roberts or Richard Gere, so I went with this stylish graphic representation instead. Now playing. Toy Story. This was the only generated image that included both Woody and Buzz together, so by default, this one wins. I don't know why there's a number attached to it. That third character kind of looks like a combination of Jessie and Bo Peep. I don't think the AI understood these were two different characters, so, like the transporter pod and the fly, it combined them both into one. Which segues nicely into Now playing. The Fly. Yes, this hideous thing was the best of all the attempts I made for this movie. Let that sink in, this atrocity was the best one. Jesus, this thing is ugly. I guess the Jaws poster gets some redemption after all. Now playing. The Big Lebowski. The only recognizable character in any of the images generated was the dude, so I went with this sweet graphic of the king of all slackers. I really like this simple visual. Now playing. Alien. This was another image chosen by itself because none of the other posters included an alien that was recognizable as the xenomorph from the movie, so once again, we have a winner by default. Now playing. Casablanca. This came out magnificent with each portrait looking just like Bergman and Bogart with beautiful colors and composition. I actually love this image better than any other poster I've ever seen for this movie. The AI did a great job here, and that's why this one gets a well-earned. There's also a runner-up. I love the runner-up too as a black and white alternative. It has that classic old-school charm of golden era Hollywood. As often as the AI gets it wrong, sometimes it really gets it right. Now playing. The Terminator. I love this one too. I think it's even better than the actual movie poster, which is also a shot of Arnie looking badass and holding a gun. That grim, unyielding countenance sends chills down my spine. This one definitely gets an A. Could the runner-up possibly be as good as this one? It sure can. I love the runner-up as much as the winner. The combat chassis itself looks like Arnold. It's so cool. Now playing. Gone with the Wind. Rhett looks a lot like Rhett and Scarlett looks a lot like Scarlett, and how sexy is that dress she's almost wearing? Nice job. Yummy. This one also has a runner-up. The runner-up has nice colors, but it's not nearly as sexy as the first one. None of the images generated included the mustache Rhett should have. Now playing. Amadeus? This one generated only portraits of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, so I just went with the one I liked the best again. Now playing. The Princess Bride. All of the images needed more visuals for this very visual story, but it was still quite successful with the minimalist, dreamlike storybook watercolor approach that was taken. This one has a runner-up. And the same pretty much goes for the runner-up. A beautiful, dreamy storybook look to this image too. Both of these images are quite lovely. And finally, now playing. Big Trouble in Little China. Despite numerous attempts here as well, the AI insisted on making Jack Burton Chinese and looked nothing like Kurt Russell, so I went with the most spectacular image of all the ones generated. But there are even more problems than that. Regardless how beautiful this image is, the poster makes it appear like the story is set in China rather than in San Francisco Chinatown. Since it isn't, much of that beautiful background imagery has to go, and come on, the Pork Chop Express has got to be in there somewhere. Bonus poster. Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. I couldn't get the AI to generate even one acceptable poster for this movie, despite more than a dozen tries, so here's a cute picture of a puppy instead. I can't believe a silly little movie like this was the one that befuddled this advanced technology the most. I think Bud and Lou would have liked that. Feel free to suggest movies for which you'd like to see an alternative poster in the comments of this video. If this video is successful, I can always create a sequel.